Louisiana has had a strong military training operation since the 1940s, from World War II through the global war on terror.
And you can see that Army history on display at the Fort Polk Museum near Leesville. Dave McNamara takes us there in the heart of Louisiana.
These soldiers are training for rapid deployment and fighting global terrorism. And they're doing it at Fort Polk. They are the latest in a long line of troops who have trained here for 70 years, going back to 1940, in the months leading up to the U.S. joining World War II. Today's training is a far cry from the Army of 1940, an ill-equipped fighting force that still relied on horses and mules. The transition from hoofs to trucks happened here.
They tested the abilities of armor, the abilities to move with vehicles instead of using horses to pull artillery.
During 1940 and 41, 500,000 soldiers with tanks and airplanes converged on this state to take part in the Louisiana maneuvers, the largest ever U.S. military exercise.
And the war games were not confined to what is now the Fort Polk property. Right, this spread across most of the central part of the state?
There's a Red Army and a Blue Army, and the Red Army started to the north, the Blue Army was in the south part, and they were trying to contend for control of the Mississippi.
The museum at Fort Polk traces the history of this military base, with weapons displays, photographs, and uniforms.
We show weapons that the U.S. Army Infantry Squad would have used during World War II and the German Infantry Squad. 30 caliber machine gun, but it's heavy. It's a heavy weapon, and it takes 3 people to actually carry that.
A German POW who ended up in Louisiana has his uniform in this museum.
Was worn by soldiers in the Africa Corps under General Rommel, Field Marshal Rommel.
Fort Polk was reactivated in the 1950s to train soldiers for Korea, and again in the 1960s and 70s for Vietnam.
Watch your 6!
And today it's the Army's Joint Readiness Training Center, with advanced training for some of our allies and troops being deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. It's been a proving ground for some of our greatest generals and to 4 generations of soldiers on the front lines of combat. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 Local First.
Fort Polk is one of 10 military bases named after Confederate officers that is likely to undergo a name change. For more on the Fort Polk Museum and Louisiana military history, go to heartoflouisiana.com.